Welcome, Kleschka Crew, to week 15 of Kleschka Picks. Last week was very fun for football. Hopefully this week will be just as fun. I'm going to try and go a little quicker through this week because it's holiday season. I got a lot of Christmas stuff that I am busy with and I got to get done. So I'm sorry. I want to apologize right now, but I'm just going to try and speed it up a little bit. Hopefully that is okay just for this week, I promise. And I got videos that I'm also trying to work on for you guys, like ones that I'm really putting a lot of work into, vlogs 299 and 300 to be exact. So be ready for those. Those are coming very soon. Definitely both of them before the end of the year, both of them before Christmas. So be ready for that. Let's get started with the Thursday game, the Jets and the Ravens. The Jets, they won on a game-winning field goal last week against Miami, and the Ravens, they beat Buffalo. Those are both good teams there. This week, Baltimore, they are so overpowered with Lamar Jackson, and they got a good run game with Mark Ingram. The Jets, they are just fighting for every win they can. They definitely don't have the same talent as the Ravens, so I think the Ravens are actually going to destroy the Jets. I think Lamar Jackson is going to run all over them. I think they will beat the Jets 34-10. Buccaneers and Lions. Lions lost to the Vikings. They were held to one score. They are so low in their depth chart for the quarterback position, so that is hurting them, obviously. And then Tampa Bay, they beat the Colts just barely. They just edged out that victory by 3 points. This game, however, Buccaneers and Lions. The Buccaneers, they turn the ball over a lot, but they also score a lot of points. With how injured the Lions are and how many points the Buccaneers will score, even though they're going to turn that ball over, I think the Buccaneers will beat the Lions 30-20. Seahawks and Panthers. The Panthers lost to the Falcons last week. They allowed a lot of points, and my Seahawks, we lost a very important game to the Rams. They showed up. Ever since Todd Gurley has been used more in the offense, they have just suddenly turned it on once again. Although their playoff chances are still low percentage-wise, according to NFL Network and all the other analysts out there. This is a must-win for Seattle. We cannot really afford to lose anymore. Carolina has succeeded replacing Cam Newton with Kyle Allen, but I think Russell Wilson is performing like an MVP this year, even though he has slowed down the last couple of games. I think he still has more talent than the Panthers quarterback Kyle Allen, and I think the team all around can succeed more than the Panthers, and we are driven to win this game because of our playoff chances. So I think the Seahawks will beat the Panthers 24-17. Broncos and Chiefs. Chiefs beat the Patriots last week. Thank you, Chiefs. And the Broncos surprisingly beat the Texans. That came out of nowhere. Drew Lock had his best game of his NFL career this week. I think Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs are a dominant force on offense. They got tons of weapons that they can use. Patrick Mahomes literally has so many options to choose from with the ground game, the receiving game, himself. So I think this is going to be a victory for the Chiefs. I don't think the Broncos are going to repeat that same offense that we saw last week. I think Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs will beat the Broncos 27-13. Packers and Bears. Bears beat the Cowboys last week. That was definitely a statement win for them. The Cowboys really needed to get that win, and Jason Garrett, he is on the hot seat. If he keeps having games like this, I'm sure his job in Dallas will not be secure for very long. And then you have the Packers. Like I said, they beat the Redskins. They got the victory. They're trying to fight for playoffs as well. They got to deal with the Vikings, who are also doing very well this season. It's going to be fun getting towards the end of the season for a lot of teams. I think the Bears defense will not be able to handle Aaron Rodgers, as he is an elite quarterback, and he has proved that many times, and I think he will do that once again this week. Just shredding the Bears defense. I think he will beat them 31-13. Patriots and Bengals. Bengals lost to the Browns last week, and the Patriots, they lost to the Chiefs. They almost completed a comeback, but they could not do it. They were stopped, and they took the L. I don't think they will take the L this week. Their defense has not really been as elite as it was at the beginning of the season, but it's still a very good defense, especially, I'm sure it's going to shine against Cincinnati. I think Cincinnati will be held without a touchdown. I think the Patriots will beat the Bengals 24-9. Giants and Dolphins. Dolphins lost on that game-winning field goal from the Jets, and the Giants lost in overtime to the Eagles. They never got a chance to try and fight in overtime. They really had it the whole game, and they just kind of gave it to the Eagles in the end. This is going to be an interesting one because these are two teams that really want to forget this season and they can be scored on pretty easily. So I don't know. It's either going to be bad offense the entire game on both sides, or I think both of these offenses are going to succeed. I don't think one's going to succeed and the other one's going to do bad. I think it's either going to be both really bad or both really good. And I think the Dolphins are going to do better this week. I think the Giants secondary is just weak, and I think they're going to expose that. So I think the Dolphins will beat the Giants 23-20. Eagles and Redskins. Redskins lost to the Packers last week. Eagles won in overtime. Carson Wentz and Zach Ertz were really the ones getting the job done. They are trying to fight for a playoff spot. They're trying to get their division over the Cowboys. That's going to go all the way to the end probably. This week, however, the Redskins have been a team that's hard to watch this season. And the Eagles, they've had their struggles, but they're fighting with all they got. And this is definitely a week that they should win and really need to win. So this is a perfect week for them because, like I said, they need this victory. And this is a team where you could get that victory because it's... You don't want to miss this one is what I'm saying. Like, don't mess this up, Eagles, because you really need this win, and this is a team you can easily beat. So I think the Eagles are going to beat the Redskins 27-13. Texans and Titans. The Texans lost to the Broncos last week after they just beat the Patriots the week before that, which made no sense to me. And then the Titans, they doubled the score of the Raiders last week and got a victory. Derrick Henry had another big game. This week, I think it's going to be a good back and forth game. I think it's going to be a battle of pretty even teams. But with how hot Derrick Henry and the Titans have been playing lately, just constantly week after week after week, I think they have the upper hand. I think their confidence is better. I think they're playing hotter than the Texans because after that loss to the Broncos, I got to say, that's gotta suck because you just beat the Patriots. How do you beat the Patriots and then go into that week and lose to the Broncos? So with how the Titans have been playing and how good the whole team has been offensively, I think the Titans are going to beat the Texans 29-23. Cardinals and Browns. The Cardinals lost to the Steelers last week, and the Browns, they beat the Bengals last week. The Cardinals, they got Kyler Murray at quarterback, and then the Browns, they got Baker Mayfield at quarterback. Both young quarterbacks who have tons of future ahead of them to improve and maybe become one of the elite quarterbacks. You don't know how long it'll take until they blossom. Maybe they will never blossom, but it would be great to see all these young quarterbacks blossom and have a great future. That makes the NFL more fun. It makes football more fun. Hopefully this will be a fun week. Two young quarterbacks going at it. You got Kyler Murray, who's got a legendary veteran receiver in Larry Fitzgerald. And then you got Baker Mayfield, who's got two young, very talented receivers in Jarvis Landry and Odell Beckham, and he's got a talented running back core with Kareem Hunt and Nick Chubb. I think they're starting to figure out how to use these weapons correctly, and I think the Browns are going to play a close one against the Cardinals, and the Browns will beat them 30-24. Vikings and Chargers. Vikings got the win last week over the Lions, and the Chargers, they really got the win over the Jaguars last week, which was very surprising. The Chargers have had a tough season. They kept losing by one score every time they lost, and this is a bright spot for the Chargers with how big their offense came out there and just exploded. Vikings, they're trying to fight for their division. They're trying to make sure the Packers don't get it, or actually, I think I have that backwards. I'm sorry. I think the Packers are ahead of them. I'm just not caught up. I know it's going to come down to Packers and Vikings. I am just so caught up with a lot of stuff this week. School is ending. Christmas is coming. Videos I'm working on. Like I said, I'm really sorry. But I know Packers and Vikings are going to be fighting for the division till the end. So the Vikings, they need this win. They can't really afford a loss. The Chargers, with all their weapons, you think they would succeed, but they really haven't all season. The Vikings have, and they have lost to Adam Thielen, but Stephon Diggs stepped up, Dalvin Cook, Kirk Cousins, and I think those three are going to step up in this game and beat the Chargers 30-17. Jaguars and Raiders, both of these teams lost last week. The Jaguars, like I said, they lost to the Chargers, and the Raiders, they lost to the Titans. The Raiders, they are actually having a better season than I thought they would. After all the drama they went through with Antonio Brown, and they, like, that's just, you thought, I would at least think, would affect the team in a way. They kind of brushed it off, and they're doing their best. They're actually doing better than I thought they would. And I think the Raiders are going to win this game against the Jaguars. It's going to be a close one in my mind. I think they will win 24-23. 49ers and Falcons. The Falcons, they beat the Panthers last week, and the 49ers probably had the best game of the week against the Saints. I want to get into this game right here. This game was back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. The Saints looked like they had most of it, and the 49ers, they didn't quit. They came back. And then George Kittle went full-on beast mode, carrying defenders while they're grabbing his face mask, hopping on his back, trying to take him down. That got a penalty for the Saints, which put the 49ers in great field goal position. They kicked a game-winning field goal and won that game. Very high scoring, 48-46. My goodness, it was such a good game. And this week they got the Falcons, who have been up and down, up and down. This week I think they're going to be down. They lost Calvin Ridley. He is out for the season, who has been huge for them this entire season. And I think the 49ers are going to score high again. I think the 49ers will beat the Falcons 42-20. Rams and Cowboys. Rams are trying to get as many wins as they can before the season ends. They got a very, very low chance of making playoffs, but they're trying to do everything in their power to do anything that could raise that chance. And then you got the Cowboys, who just seem to be disappointing people. I think the more the Rams include Todd Gurley, the more they will succeed, which they are seeming to learn here towards the end of the season. It helps Jared Goff, it helps the whole offense, and then the defense can succeed and thrive off of the offense doing good. So I think the Rams are starting to put the puzzle pieces together, and I think they will beat the Cowboys 30-14. I think the Cowboys are just going to get more disappointing as the season goes on. Bills and Steelers. The Steelers won last week against the Cardinals, and the Bills, they lost to the Ravens. The Bills can't really take that loss too hard because the Ravens are a very good team and very impressive. Lamar Jackson has proved it by himself. I think the Bills defense is very solid. It's very good. It's very talented, and I think that is going to be huge for them in this game. They're playing a Steelers team who's gone through a lot this season with fights, injuries, so they've had these distractions, and they've been pretty good at just getting rid of them and being like, oh, we're going to ignore that. But I don't think you can ignore this Bills defense, and Josh Allen has been playing pretty solid these last couple games. So I think the Bills will beat the Steelers 24-16. Finally, a former Super Bowl, we have Colts and we have Saints. Both of these teams lost last week, just barely both of these teams lost. The Saints, like I said, they lost on the game-winning field goal from the 49ers, and the Colts, they lost to the Buccaneers and their high-powered offense. And this week, I think the Saints are going to get revenge. The Colts have not impressed me the last couple weeks as they did earlier in the season. The Saints have impressed me all season, especially through that time period when Drew Brees was injured. They had players step up like Teddy Bridgewater. Now Drew Brees is back. He's looking good, and I'm sure he's sniffing playoffs, and he wants it so bad. So I think he's going to beat the Colts 33-20. Well, everybody, if you made it to the end of this episode, then comment who you think is the most exciting player in the NFL right now. Like the video, subscribe, tell your mom, your dad, your grandma, your grandpa, your pets, your best friends. Sorry this had to go quick this week, but I'm working on great things. I hope you guys like it. I hope you guys like this video, and I will see you next time. I got this.